Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85 back today doing a new video, another figure review. I figured, no pun intended, I kind of thought though, just with everything going on in the world right now, with the whole, with this whole coronavirus situation that we're currently dealing with, just thought this might be a nice little escape, just from everything. So thought it'd be a good idea at this current juncture to do a new figure review. So today we are going to go ahead and take a look at my Y-MSF 1956 Rodan figure. So this one, I have seen a few reviews done on this guy on eBay, or excuse me, on YouTube, I should say. It certainly is a what I think is a pretty nicely done figure by Y-MSF. I know a few other people have said it's kind of hit and miss. I think they did an awesome job with it, honestly. Especially the way that they sculpted this figure. I always tend to promote the Y-MSF figures because I really love them. I think they're awesome. It's just unfortunately, especially nowadays, with these older releases, since they are so rare, they are very, very expensive, so we'll get into all of that. Again, though, this is the 1956 Rodan. This is the one that Y-MSF has made. There was rumor that they were going to do a 60s Rodan. That seems like that still has yet to see the light of day. Just for me, though, personally, the 56 Rodan, which is the original Rodan, this is my personal favorite incarnation of Rodan. I think he just looks absolutely awesome. And obviously in the movie there were two of them, Rodan and his mate, which were basically identical. I think the roars were slightly different to kind of tell them apart, but for the most part they were pretty much the same. But again, though, my favorite incarnation of Rodan. So let's go ahead and jump into this here. We'll start with the paint. Pretty basic paint here. It's basically, as you can see, this brownish color all around him, as I'll kind of showcase here. There are some different tints of brown, though, some shading that was done to it. It's a little hard to pick up on the camera. Doing the best I can here to kind of show you guys. But you can see some different shadings of brown, though, especially here. Patterning on the wings. Let's see if I can get that to show for you guys. As you can kind of see, so a little duller, a little lighter colored up here. Of course, you got some highlights here on the back, some sort of like blackish, greenish, or even yellowish highlights on his back. And again, some different shadings and what have you, besides this sort of deepish brown, which is more prevalent on the wings than the rest of his body, because the rest of his body is more of a lighterish, a little more dulled out color scheme than the design on the wings. And then otherwise, for the spikes and the toe claws, those hoof talons, and of course his finger claws and his beak and whatnot. Those are all done. Kind of get a look at them here. They're all sort of done in this like a yellowish, almost like a faded yellowish, almost ivory-ish sort of bone color. So as long as the camera picks them up, you guys can kind of see all that. So again, with the beak and everything. So again, sort of that sort of color scheme on them. Just trying to make sure that it picks up for you guys there, which I definitely do appreciate. So I think they did a nice job with it. And then otherwise, the eyes, these sort of see if the camera will focus for me a little bit there. So you guys can sort of see these almost like beady, blackish, beady looking eyes he's got there. Also the horns in the back of the head and that sort of faded yellowish, ivoryish bone color on the horns. I forgot to mention those. So you can see them there, and then like I said, those blackish, beady-ish looking eyes that he had, which are very indicative of his look from the film here. I think it added to his sort of very, very menacing appearance that he had in the film. So I think they did a really nice job with that. So that pretty much covers the paint. The detail work, as you guys can see, very nicely done on the wings here. All the lines and ripples on the wings, all these sort of patternings here, as you guys can see, sort of scuffs and everything, which are done on purpose there just to add some detail work on the wings. So see if you guys can pick up everything here as I was trying to show. Very nicely done, very nice texturing at the top part of the wing here, where it leads into the claw, which again was done in a different shading of brown. That looks really good. All the ripples and segments on his legs there and everything, the nice sharp claws on the feet. Here, all well, the spikes are somewhat sharp, as you guys can see. Very nice patterning on them. They're not as sharp as the claws, though, and the beak. Those are sharper than these, but they still do feel nice and solid. Really, really do have that spiky feel to them. All those segments on his chest and everything. On his back, you got more of the ripples and segments on the wings there, and all the etchings that were done on the wings, and for all that detail work here. Doing the best I can here, folks, with the camera, so I do apologize if it's not perfect. I'm having to kind of work it around, but like I said, definitely doing the best I can to show you guys here. I got that sort of sail, that fin or that sail on his back. Nicely done there. Again, the back of the neck here, more of the segmentation ripples, the back of the neck as well as the front. Again, the head looks really good, the beak nice and sharp, very nice detail there, nice detailing with the horns. Again, that face looks really, really good. And then, of course, that nice little stubby tail that Rodan had in the film. Everything looks really good. And, of course, again, too, those sort of talons on the back of his hooves there. There's really, really, really nice. Yep, as you guys can see here, the backs of his feet there. All that looks really, really good. All, like I said, I think they painted and detailed, all the detailing and sculpting on this Rodan figure. I personally think they did a really nice job with anyway. And then, of course, the one other thing that I always look at is the articulation. For this one, this is a kind of where it does drop the ball. Now, just to notate, Y-MSF's articulation is usually very limited anyway. So just to kind of note that, I should say. But this one probably even more limited than others. All you really got is you kind of see the head here. It does rotate, but the joint though kind of wants to pop out of place though. So if you're gonna rotate it, I would do it very minimally. But you can look side to side a little bit. It's just that the head, for whatever reason, kind of pops out of place and is very wobbly looking. So not sure 100% why they did it like that, but that's how they did it. And the wings have a little bit of movement in them, so you can sort of flat them a little bit. I'm trying to pick up here at the camera, but again, very limited range of movement. You don't have anything in the legs or nothing on the tail or anything like that. So he's more going to look nice on a shelf more than anything. And then, of course, obviously with this pose that he's in a sort of a nice standing pose here. So sort of like when you see him landing on top of the building, and I think it was Sasebo was the city that they attacked at the sort of highlight attack of the film, I should say. So he's got that sort of menacing standing pose right there. You know, if you want to try to do a flying thing, I guess you can sort of make it work. You know, if you have a stand or whatever, and you can have him looking down, but it's really obviously meant as a standing pose, which it looks great though, and it stands perfectly. I have no issues with it whatsoever. So I happen to love it. I think it's awesome. Now, obviously, as you guys may have seen in the past, I did review my 1956 Gashapon Rodan figure. So, and that one was pretty nicely done for a Gashapon figure, but obviously I do want a standard size one in my collection. This guy stands, most of the Y-MSF figures are in that 6 to 7 inch range, so he will size in with any figures that are in that range. I don't usually bring out other figures to do size comparisons. That's just the way I do my videos, but I do kind of mention what the size is of the figures just so you guys can know. So, you know, you can take my word for it, but you know, that's basically a standard for Y-MSF. So, like I said, just to make you guys aware of that. Again, though, this is, you know, Y-MSF, it is rare, so as far as pricing goes, it's certainly going to cost you, you know, I paid well over $100 for it. I paid about 150 when I got this guy on eBay, and I got him a little while back. So I've had him for a while now, so you do need to keep that in mind. You could be paying maybe a couple $100 for this figure, but again, Y-MSF figures, they had limited production, and especially nowadays with these older releases, since they are so rare, they are going to be very costly. So it is one thing to keep in mind, but I think they did a really knockout job with it. I love it. I'm really happy to have it in my collection. The only other standard-ish size Rodan that I have in my or the 56 Rodan, I should say, that I have in my collection, 1956 Rodan, is the Sci-Fi Revoltech one, which I do think looks a little nicer than the Y-MSF one for sure, but unfortunately with Revoltech, their sizing is not really done the best. They're sort of in their own scale range. So that's more like almost like a 5-inch figure, I would say, so it's a little smaller, won't really size in well with some of your other, you know, standard Bandai figures and what have you that are more in that 6 to 7 inch range. So it is going to look a little small on the shelf, and it's kind of the reason why I decided to pull the trigger and pick this guy up back, you know, back when I did so. And I think he looks great on the shelf with my other kaiju figures. So, but the Revoltech one is just a really nicely done figure. It's got nice, you know, pretty cool accessories and whatnot. I definitely plan to review that one in the future. I have 4 Revoltech figures. I reviewed 2 already, Baragon and the 1961 Mothra figure. So I am going to review Rodan, and then I've also got Anguirus, which is, I would say, pound for pound my favorite of the Revoltech figures that I have. So I look forward to reviewing both of those in the future. But for now, definitely was happy to get this guy reviewed here. I've been meaning to do a review on him. I think he's awesome. Like I said, I definitely recommend him for the collection. And, you know, as long as you guys are in the market, and, you know, I think he makes a great addition. So other than that, I think that about wraps it up for the video, folks. I do want to thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.